Welcome to the Bourbon Talk Show, the ABB Network's original YouTube series where we interview some of the most interesting people from the world of bourbon. Today on the show, we'll be talking to Dan McKee, Master Distiller from Michter's Distillery, and Miss Beka of the Bourbon Daily and Neeley Family Distillery. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host for the evening, Steve Akeley.
Thank you. I got an applause-o-meter. Yes, Carrie Pierce gave me an applause-o-meter, which is cool. I can fill in crowd noise. It's great. Right?
We need it, Steve. I think our audience is still shy and they don't want to be as loud as we want them to be. So It'll come though. They'll get it.
It'll come, yeah. So I think this is going to help. I think it'll help everybody get more into it. So yes, eventually I'll be able to get rid of that. That's the dream. But for right now, we need to supplement the crowd noise. Yeah. Well, we've got a couple great guests today. We've got Dan McKee of Michter's. Always great to talk to him. And then, of course, our very homegrown in-house Miss Beka from the Bourbon Daily. So should be fun. A couple of great guests today. And but before we get to that, we always like to talk about news. And this is both news from the bourbon industry as well as our personal bourbon news, if we've got anything going on. I just picked out a couple stories I wanted to talk about. Jeff Arnett, did you see this one, McNew?
Yeah, and I did. I just read the headlines and I did not realize that's who it was opening this new distillery. So that's exciting.
Yes. So Jeff Arnett, the master distiller of Jack Daniels for many years, last year he retired or, left Jack Daniels. Yeah. But
electro voice. It's like that electro voice.
He's opening up his own distillery called Company Distilling in Alcoa, Tennessee, which I don't like the name. I don't. The name isn't great, right? I thought when I saw that
seems really like generic, and I don't think it doesn't sound like something I'm excited about. Company Distilling, what?
Right. Initially, when I saw that, I thought the plan was. Okay, the name to me said they're going to be like MGP, where they actually make liquor for other people.
Literally what I thought. Yes.
Right. But that's not the case. No, it's when you read it, it actually sounds really cool. It sounds like it's going to be a really cool distillery. So
yeah, and I think we knew when he left Jack Daniels that he was going to do something cool. Like he had something up his sleeve. We just weren't privy to what. So this is exciting for him.
Yeah, because he did leave it kind of like, hey, stay tuned for what comes next. He didn't say, hey, I'm just retired, I'm done. He did kind of preview that something was going to be going on. So, I mean, I'm excited about it. I think he makes great whiskey. So, and the distillery sounds cool. So, other than the name, and you can get, who really cares about once he starts making the whiskey, who really cares about?
Yeah, like once you start drinking it, like you don't care about the name too much. Right. So, yeah,
I agree. So that'll end up being a non-factor as we move ahead. This past week too, we had a fun event where we named Stumpy's, our good friends at Stumpy's Distillery, in a blind taste test with 8 different, or was it 6? 6, I think 6.
Was it 6? I just really got rid of those bottles the other day. I had the empty ones still on my desk, but
it was either 6 or 8. We don't know for sure, but it was a blind taste test, and we had bourbon drinkers nominate gins that they liked, and the idea was let's find them, let's take the best of bourbon drinkers gins, and from there, once we establish what these gins are that bourbon drinkers like, we'll do a blind tasting to determine which one they like best. So that was the idea, to determine that, and Stumpy's won in a blind taste test.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we went craft. So everything we sampled was from a craft distillery, because I think when you get into like Bombay and London Dry or whatever it is, like I don't personally like those big brands of gin, never liked them, but I do like craft gin, and everybody put up a good run, but congrats to Stumpy's for coming out the winner in that.
Yeah, and they're playing it up. I was at their distillery today and I heard them giving a tour. So Rachel was giving a tour and she said, hey, we just won an award. We are the bourbon lovers gin. And she was pouring them some of their gin, which I thought, hey, that's pretty cool. I was like, yeah, I was there, and Bill was with me, and he was one of the judges. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
He was willing to sign bottles, but no one took him up on it. No one had Bill sign a bottle as the judge for the bourbon lovers gin. So
that's a rare signature. They should have taken him up for that.
Yeah. McNews. I always like the third story because you've got so much going on. It's McNews. So we had a live event this past week. Tell us about that. What
yeah. So the Robinsons, the legend, they're both here with us tonight. They went this weekend. It was, I think, probably one of the best events we've probably ever done live. It was a blast at Hard Truth Hills. They took really good care of us. The ATV tours, I don't think that can be beat. More places should do ATV tours.
Yeah.
I heard that you guys all had to take a nap by about 1 in the afternoon.
Well, that's true.
It was 3 o'clock.
It was 3. Between 3 and 7, we were down for the count, but we rallied. The rally
was solid. Yeah.
No judgment, because Lord knows that, New Orleans, I've had to take a lot of naps.
Yeah, so you know how things go though, Beka. So it's either stop and take a nap, or you're going to crash by like 5 or 6, or you're going to keep going and it's just going to be a nightmare for everybody. So the nap was the responsible thing to do.
It's going to be a nightmare, and there's going to be stories that you don't want to hear.
Yeah, and probably photos that never need to be seen if you don't do the nap route.
Yeah, it's a bad way to go.
Yeah,
I know, because I've done it.
Same. It's definitely the good. Take a nap. I mean, just chill out for a little bit. It was good.
Yep. And we're in conversations this week with the Dant family about the new Log Still Distillery. They've got a bed and breakfast there, and they have 5 rooms open now. When they get it fully open, the bed and breakfast and the cabins that are there and all that, we're going to rent the whole thing. So we've already been in talks with them, and then we'll have an event there, which sounds
that's going to be a great weekend and another just one of a kind experience.
Yeah, they said the family will be there, and it'll be a whole behind the scenes thing. So it sounds really cool. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yep.
You are in the process. You got your Ian Summerholder event coming up. So the guy from Vampire Diaries, and I think you've got just like 9 tickets left now or something like that. So
yeah, so it's starting to sell out, and those ticket sales do end this Saturday. So get those if you're interested. That's going to be great. And I'm trying to be like, how am I going to be professional? Because I'm trying not to be a fangirl about it, but it's going to be a good event.
Yeah. I'm really excited about that. They've got some industry folks coming in on it too. So very cool stuff. And then the other focus that you're doing is this come in and taste your product lineup. And you booked KO Distilling this week, which I think is kind of cool.
Yep. That'll be June 24th. And it's their whole lineup. So it's 8 samples that they're going to be sending out. That's going to be great.
Yeah. And their PR person does PR for another company. They're talking to us about that one. Lenny from Deerhammer is going to be doing one with us too. I'm going out to Colorado tomorrow. Actually, I leave for Colorado. I'll be picking up the bottles for that. So look for that. That one's, I think, scheduled for August. It's not out there yet or anything.
Yeah, that one's in the works for August.
Yeah. So look for more of those. I think it's an exciting new series you're doing where you're tasting with a distiller or company owner, which is cool.
Yeah. And then a member, either it's the distiller or a representative of the distillery, is coming in as well. So you kind of get insider information from them. Those are going to be great try it series.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's time now to introduce our guest. So our first guest comes us from the industry. He started out at Jim Beam, and then he moved over to Michter's when his mentor, Pamela Hellman, served as the master distiller. And when she retired, I should say, he took over that role. So today he serves at Michter's master distillery. He's been doing it for about 2 years now. He's known as a great distiller and an even better guy. He's an amazing person, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan McKee.
Welcome, Dan.
Hello. Dan, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. This is exciting. So
yeah. Excited to have you here. Really, really cool. Can't wait to hear about what you got going on at Michter's. But before we get to kind of what's going on with business, I always like to just talk to people a little bit about, their personal life and those type of things. And I understand when you get some time off, which you don't have a lot, you're a busy guy, you do a lot of work and things like that, but you're a family guy, you like doing stuff with the kids and things like that. What sort of things do you guys like to do?
well, if I have a son, he's 13, and if I'm at home, he's occupying the time, and I love it. He plays sports. He's just like me, whether it's I grew up playing football, baseball, and he likes the same sport. So that part's been great. I mean, just the other night, of course I was at work, but he hit a in the park home run. So, he's a much better athlete than I was at that age, but those are the things. Him and I love to ride dirt bikes. Same thing. I grew up with dirt bikes, and about 2 years ago, he would just not stop asking me for one. And next thing you know, I had to, we both had to get one. It's kind of always been that way. At Christmas time when Santa Claus would get him something cool, well, Santa Claus got me something pretty cool. So it's kind of always been that way. And then, but that's what we do a lot. I mean, 2020, with all the COVID, we had a lot of opportunity to do some camping and a lot of riding, things like that. But we tried to make the best of it, and we had a blast.
Yeah,
I should say my wife's in there too, but
sure. Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble here.
She may see this at some point.
Right,
So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, we just had a blast. It was, like I said, we made the best of last year. So
yeah, not a whole lot of good has come out of COVID, but one of the good things is it has forced us to kind of look internally and spend more time with family and those type of things, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. It sounds like you're getting some good quality time these days, so that's nice actually. As a kid, I would have loved to spend more time with my dad. He was always busy. He was a policeman, so then he'd work secondary jobs, security and stuff like that. And he was a hardworking guy. So more time is always a good thing for sure. So you're 2 years now into your journey as a master distiller. Just give us an update. How's it going for you, man?
Well, I mean, overall, it's going great. I mean, 2 years ago when I became master distiller, of course, it's not something that 15 years ago when I became a distillery operator that I thought was even possible. So for me to even be in this role, I'm very fortunate, very humble about it. But it's been an awesome experience. Again, that first year in 2019, being a part of the releases and then, the travel, my main goal here and main job is the production side of it. And, it's just like doing these virtual events and tastings and so forth. It always starts out, I'm extremely nervous, and then I kind of calm down, and hopefully it shows by the end. But my passion is the production side of things. Well, that first year I really started to, get the travel. It kind of went in, peaks and valleys of traveling, but you get to meet so many great people that are so passionate about, the whiskey industry. When I worked 9 years of third shift, and I didn't realize how much passion was out there, how much people really, really enjoyed the whiskeys and came together as, groups and doing things like this. And I think that's amazing. When I came to Michter's, that's when my eyes really opened up and had the opportunity. And, in 2019, I went to quite a few places throughout the United States, which was awesome again. And then I was fortunate to go to London, Paris, and I spent a week up in Canada. I mean, those are experiences I would have probably never had had I not been here at Michter's. But then, then 2020 comes around. I remember early in the spring or somewhere around February, something, I remember coming back from Las Vegas, and all of a sudden everything stopped, and travel came to the halt. Entertaining with guests and so forth, and my other role here at Michter's is vice president of production. So employee safety and keeping Michter's going was of utmost importance, and we had to go through, like everyone here, we've had to go through a lot to keep our distillery safe and running. And we're very fortunate we've been able to keep going without stoppages, but it was a lot last year. And again, that goes for all of us. We all experienced it. But, I didn't picture last year being a part of being the master distiller, but, things are starting to change. But overall, it's been exciting. The experiences, like I said, I never would have thought I've had, just again, getting to travel the States and then starting to do a little overseas, it was truly special.
And you have to remember, your first podcast you did after being named master distiller was Jeremy and Shell and I came over to your office literally like the week after you were named master distiller. We saw and we asked if we could do the interview because we wanted to get in there right away, and you said yes. It was cool. I can't thank you enough for that, man.
Well, I'm literally sitting on the opposite end of that table right now, and it's funny because that's the other part that made this kind of a blur. It like I said, the nerves really show. You remember when you met me first time?
Yeah.
Now I'll at least laugh and everything, but and I laugh at myself. You can't help but laugh. It's some of the things that come out of whether you intend it or not, you got to look back, and when the podcast is over, you're like, man, did I say that?
We all have those times, Dan.
Yeah, it just seems like though with me it happens all the time, and it's but
Well,
you know, if you ever get to know me, it's I've always laughed at myself. If you can't laugh at yourself, something's wrong, and that's kind of how I look at things, and I try not to take it too serious.
Yeah. Well, I want you to keep drinking, and I want you to loosen up, because later on in the interview, I'm going to ask you about some new stuff. And Michter's is famous, tight-lipped about this stuff. Literally, one time, Pamela Hellman told me she had no idea when they were going to come out with a new product, and like 3 days later, they came out with it. I'm like, what, you didn't know? No, she just didn't tell. So I know how Michter's is. They won't say anything, but we'll work on Dan later.
Well, that could happen tonight. So
yeah, we'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
You follow two legends in the bourbon industry, Willie Pratt and Pamela Hellman. I mean, these are, legendary people. Willie's in the, Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, we lost him last year, but he's in Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Famer. Pamela Hellman will be. She's got to be on the way to that. They haven't had a class since she's retired, but I would assume she'll probably go in this year. If they do that, I mean, she's got to be in the consideration if she doesn't make it. She's one of the all-time greats. So what's it like following a couple legends?
Yeah, I think that's part of the humble part. I mean, I'll start with, working with Pam. When I was a distillery operator and promoted to the Book or No distillery as a third shift supervisor, that's where I, joined Pam's team there. And, at that time, again, there was no even foresight of that this would happen here at Michter's. And, she would come in, let's say around 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would learn a lot, but Pam is very, very focused, detail oriented. Like if you had issues during the night, it was not okay just to say, yeah, this broke. You better know why. You better, truly investigated everything. She forced you to learn the process, and she was a great teacher. I mean, I always say this, my time at Beam was truly special also. I worked with a lot of great people. I mean, Pam is the distillery manager at that time. And of course, when she left to come to Michter's, and, sometime later I joined, that wasn't planned or anything like that. And I think that's what's really unique about the story, but I learned so much from her and others. But yeah, she truly is. She deserves it. I definitely agree to that. And then coming to Michter's, I was the distillery manager, so we were entering into what we call phase 3 when the distillery, was actually being built. So I joined the team in December of 14, and that's where I met Willie in the interviews and so forth. And it was kind of funny because when I joined the team and the construction was going on and I helped oversee it, but for the longest time, I would talk to Willie, we'd be in a meeting. My name would be Bob one day, it'd be Jim the other day. So, I remember we were interviewing a distillery candidate, because one of the cool things here that I've been a part of, when I hired in, I was somewhere around employee 8 or something like that. We were under 10 employees. So I've been a part of hiring most employees here. And I remember interviewing a candidate, and I hadn't been there that long, and I wasn't Dan that day, and I just chuckle, you don't say anything, but it was a lot of fun with Willie. Of course, Pam was the distiller, so there was a little more of a distance there, but he would come back during the construction. We would talk a lot. I mean, he had over 40 years of experience, which,
right.
To me, you sit back and take it in, and you listen to the stories, whether it was times when he was in his 20s or, throughout his career. And then you learn a lot. I remember when the stills came online, and we were, again, quality is of number one priority here at Michter's. That's what we're about. And I can remember just breaking down that new distillate and testing it and sensory and so forth. And, this is rejected, and we send it out of the facility to be repurposed into fuel ethanol, and having those discussions of looking at fermentation along with Pam. You just learn a lot. Yeah. And that's what I hold most to, that is just, people like Willie and Pam and others that have shared so much. I mean, like I said, even going back to Beam and there's so many we focus on the whiskey as it comes into the bottle, but to get it there, there's so many things, and people that are in the distilling industry know what I'm talking about. I mean, even go back to like the boiler that provides the steam for the processes. I remember being during a summer shutdown, sitting inside of a boiler, the firebox, with one of the senior operators, and he literally was explaining the inner works of the boiler. I mean, where do you get that, right? I mean,
Right.
you can look at a textbook all day, but I was able to do that. And that's what is really valuable and hold dear to myself, to my heart for, my advancement in this industry, is people along the way helping me in that fashion.
Yeah. For me, the name Michter's is almost synonymous with quality. You could almost interchange them. And I don't have any insight here, but to me, in my mind, I could see like a meeting where you're getting ready to roll out a new product, and you got the team there. Joe's there, and Pamela maybe happens to stop in today, and you got Andrea Wilson there, and you and Joe turns to you and says, "Okay, what's your honest opinion of the stand?" You're like, "It's excellent. I would give this one a 9 out of 10," and I would say Joe would be like, "That's a drain pour." Yeah, we're Michters. We only would do a 10 out of 10. This is unacceptable. And am I right on that? Is that level of quality assurance there with Michters, or am I seeing this wrong?
No, you're 100% correct. And Joe, again, our president of Michters, Joe Malioco, he always says our number one goal is to make the greatest American whiskey. Now, whether we're doing it or not, that's for others to decide, right?
Right.
But that's what we're going to do. And, just in our processes, things aren't the most efficient, or may cost more, but if it increases the quality of the whiskey, that's what we're going to do. And I think that's what's truly special also. I mean, when somebody has Michters, we want that to be the best experience they ever had. And again, who's out there making whiskey that doesn't have that, but we support it with the things that we do. I mean, whether it's the, all of our stuff is small batch, single barrel. Small batch is the nice hat. Thank you.
He was wearing that at another distillery, by the way, when we were at that Hard Truth event. He had on his Michter's hat. I'm like, you always wear the hat of the distillery you're at when you're there, right? No,
that's
Neil,
awesome.
Not Neil. He had his Michter's on. Yeah.
But when you just kind of walk through, we always talk about our 6 key production points. And, I know a lot of you have heard a lot of the things that we're doing, but, just the air drying, seasoning, minimum 18 months to 60 months, the toasting and charring of the barrels, the 103 barrel entry proof, the heat cycling, and, custom chilled filtration that we use. And, again, everyone has opinions of different parts of that process. Other distilleries choose not to. And that's what's the beauty of this. I always say that, we're making whiskeys, we may be making bourbon, but we all have our different approaches and our different profiles. And I think that's what's great. Why would we all want to drink the same whiskey? But yes, quality is hands down. I mean, even going back to the grains we use, all non-GMO, US grade 1,
Yeah, it's just not a commodity for you. You're buying the best. And I think that these things, it's a culture, but the culture really needs to start at the top, and you certainly have that with Joe Malioco. So tell us a little bit about Joe and what he's like to work for.
Well, because he's watching this, I'm going to say nice things, but so yeah, Joe, if you see this, no, I can honestly say that my experience so far at Michter's, a little over 6 years, has been the best experience of my life. It's extremely demanding. But it's highly rewarding. Seeing the things that we're doing as a team, and there's nothing better when you walk out and see somebody enjoying what you did, right? And that's what I love about it. Now, just to kind of show what type of person Joe is, years back, wasn't feeling well. He gives you a call, checks in on you. This is the owner, this is, we're privately held. Chatham Imports is our parent company. They're in New York. He gives you a call, just checks on you. You talk to a few other people in the company. Hey, I got a call from Joe. Like I said, this is years back. And they're like, yeah, he checks on, he makes sure his employees, he treats us very well. And I think that just says a lot that, he doesn't have to call us, our well-being when he's here at the distillery. he goes up to anybody and everybody and says hi. And I just think that says a lot about someone's character. But I will just say, I mean, again, the expectations here at Michter's is extremely high. We want the best consumer experience, but it's the most rewarding.
Yeah. I even got a little taste of that. I like to go to Fonte's Coffee when I'm in town, and I hang out there. And I was talking to Leo Fonte one day, the owner, a brother of Stephen Fonte. So if everybody's like, Fonte sounds familiar, he's the Limestone Branch, ambassador. But Leo Fonte, his brother, owns Fonte's Coffee, and I like to go there. And I noticed they had, a Michter's coffee there one day, and he was telling me about it, and he said, this is the most intense coffee brand we've ever built, because they roast the beans and pack it for you guys and all that. And he's like, Joe Malioco, the owner, came in and he oversaw this whole thing himself, and he brought team members, coffee experts to taste and all this. It was like he didn't just slap his name on a label. He had to be fully vested, fully into every step of the process to make sure that met the standards, even though it's not a whiskey product. So the coffee's amazing. And have you is that something that you drink when you're working, or is that something
I have had it? Coffee in me is one of those things that started on third shift as I got older and needed to stay awake. So believe it or not, they did not come to me to be a part of that project, but you're 100% right. It was typical Michter's fashion. Joe was all in. I can remember they would come in, from New York, and they would go straight to the coffee shop to work with Leo. Yeah, they spent a lot of time. It wasn't like, oh, that's good, let's put, they used, I believe it was they have some of that US1 small batch bourbon in it.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 blends of different coffee beans. It took a long time before they agreed on it, but Leo has that same mentality of, he's a craftsman in what he does, that artisanal coffee making, but yeah, it was typical Michter's. It was a true process. But it is good coffee for people that truly enjoy it.
I do. I'm a coffee snob, so yeah, it's really good stuff. So check it out if you get it online. If you can't.
Yeah, shameless plug, but Michters.com, you can get it that way.
Dan, it's a nickel for everyone sold from this. Yeah.
I am not a salesperson. I hope you never feel that I'm selling something to you, because that is opposite of what I am. But yeah, and he's of course located in Louisville here in Kentucky. So
yeah,
but yeah, it is great coffee.
So last time we talked, you were excited about, working on the still at the distillery on Whiskey Row. Now that's been shut down largely because of COVID, but does that mean behind the scenes, are you still able to get in there and do some experimentation, or is that entire facility just shut down?
Yeah. So it's, last spring when the Visitors Experience Center shut down, I believe it was in March. The distillery and everything was shut down as we were all learning and working through this. The main distillery is here in Shively, Kentucky, and we actually went to separated the work teams, worked different shifts, and it was all about employee safety while trying to keep the distillery and all of the facets working. Well, the Visitor Experience Center did close down at that time. Later, as we were working through this, learning more, being able to adjust the workforce, the distillery is running. We're able to still do things. The craft distillery down there has the legendary pot stills that Vendome handcrafted, but they were from the original Michters in Schaefferstown, Pennsylvania. So that part's really cool, just to, be able to use those stills, distill on them. And yeah, they're running now. The visitor center is still technically closed. We do a curbside business there. And but the great thing about all of this, since the visitor experience center is closed, we still repurposed all the employees to different parts of the business. So nobody has been furloughed.
That's
nobody. Cool. And that's something, again, I think speaks volume of Michters, and thankfully we're able to do that. I mean, we have people on the bar team, whether they're in bottling or processing, or, there's a spot for them, and hopefully we can continue to do that. And again, that's something we're very, very proud of.
Yeah. You have a resource that most people don't even have. And even when we're talking about the big heritage brands, a master of maturation in Andrea Wilson. Tell us a little bit about what it's like working with her and how you two work together in your respective roles.
You know, Andrea is very intense. She's very detail oriented, but she's just so full of knowledge. She's very driven. She's master chemical engineer of trade. She's been in the industry over 20 years. You know, I told her earlier that I was going to talk about her tonight and tell everybody how great she was, but it's you know, it's a lot of fun. There's the serious side, and then there's the joking side, and you know, our working relationship, we have that, and you know, it's had to take time and get to know each other, because you got to remember, when Willie was here, Pam was distiller, I was distillery manager, I was back in the distillery. So you know, as Willie retired, Pam moved to master distiller, then you start to get to know somebody. And then when I became master distiller, you're working more. So remember, I'm kind of doing the front end, the distillation side of it. She's doing the maturation, chilled filtration, all of that. And then we work together. And we kind of approach it with two of us. But she is very, very knowledgeable. And I'll just say, with Willie, Pam, and Andrea, one of the best attributes of all of them is they're willing to teach. And there's not a team member here that hasn't learned something from all of them. And I think, again, that's something that we have special here at Michter's.
Yeah. Well, Dan, okay, here we go. I'm going to give this my best shot. You guys always have cool new items coming out. I'm sure there's things in the works. Can you tell us anything? What is there something? Throw us a bone here.
Okay. Well, I mean, Pam did teach me, so we don't have any releases this year. So, you know what, Steve, I actually called Joe yesterday, and I said, hey, what can we tell him? And he said, absolutely nothing. So, no, I will just say, you know, if you had the opportunity, our 10-year bourbon will be coming out soon.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, okay. I love you.
We're working on that. You know, if you had last year's, hopefully you enjoyed it, or 2020. Yep. You know, it's a testament of what we do here. We age to a taste profile, not an age statement. Last year, you know, it's not 10 years in a day, it goes in a bottle. Last year, that release was just under 14 years old.
Wow.
And, you know, when you taste it, you can enjoy it, that richness, that complexity, great warm mouthfeel, and smooth finish. And that's how we approach things. We release it when we feel it's ready. This year will be no different. Those same attributes will be applied to it. We've started, you know, working on a 10-year rye release, if it works out. And, you know, there was years back when I believe it was the rye, but, you know, they didn't release it. And, you know, again, we don't want to put something out there, to speak of what you said earlier. We don't want to put something out there.
Yeah.
And so we've had some amazing results with the rye. I really love our rye. And so it's always fun. I'll be like, I should try that again. And, you know, again, just having a little rye with you guys tonight. And it's, if you guys have had our Shanks and Bombergers, that's a release we're working on for later in the year. Shanks Bombergers is part of that, what we call our legacy brand. It's outside that Michter's house style. It also pays homage to the original distillery in Schaefferstown, Pennsylvania in 1753 with Shanks. And then in the 1800s, it was Bomberger. So we're just paying homage to that. But those are two products that we have not settled on like a specific recipe. So each year there's going to be a little different. There's innovation involved, and, you know, whether it's using our, you know, toasted charred American white oak barrels, some Chinkapin oak, things like that. It's, you know, it's a lot of fun. So that's something in the horizon. I'll just say, you know, later in the year, there's still some exciting releases on top of that I won't speak of, but that's some of the things.
Hey, we got something here. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, yeah.
Progress.
It's progress. Now we'll probably hear Dan was let go tomorrow. He said too much. He said too much.
Yeah.
No, Dan's great.
He'll deny. Joel deny. He told me that. No,
Yeah.
I think it's special. To talk about it. I mean, other distilleries are, let's face it, a lot more open, but we're very cautious. Like I said, I don't want to say we're releasing something right here, and then all of a sudden, when we're truly in the middle of it, we don't feel it's right. And then don't. So, we're kind of protective of that too. So but there's a lot of great whiskey in our stocks, and it's a great job to have.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I don't know if you know this, but Freddie No and I, and then Rebecca's husband, Royce, we're kind of good friends. And when the trio gets together, we just like to talk about bourbon, and we like to just talk about bourbon people. And, it's so great just to talk about that. And your name does come up in these conversations. And Freddie says, he's got some good stories. He talks about some of his fondest memories of you coming off the third shift, like you do. And he's coming on in the morning. He'd go with you to get breakfast. And he said, you were on a diet, and your wife was kind of monitoring things, and you two would sneak out and get breakfast, and you go get like fried chicken for breakfast, even though you're supposed to be on a diet. So I love that story. So now you get the chance, because Freddie's told stories about you. Do you have any Freddie stories from your time?
Well, I'll just say, no, Freddie's great. I mean, such a personality. I mean, you just love listening to his stories, right?
Right.
And that's what it was like working at Beam too, because whether it was people that worked with his dad or Booker, I worked with like dry house operator that had 40 years experience. You just love to hear these old stories and how things were actually done, so many years ago. And no way we would do that now. And just hearing those stories was great. But you got to remember back then when I worked with Freddie, you're right, I was up all night. And then all of a sudden there's this young kid that comes in. He hadn't been out of college very long. And it was great to see him grow, because he was getting to spend time in all different aspects of the business. So by the time when he came to the distillery to really start to focus, you just hear these stories. But what I really loved about it is that he was still very young, and I would love hearing these stories of him with his friends and just cutting up as a young kid. And I think that's what I remember most, is just these crazy off the wall stories. And it just made me laugh before I'd go home.
Yeah, just a normal guy. And, despite the fact he's from this, the biggest name in bourbon, and the fact that he is how he is, and he's so actually down to earth, and he's going to do great things. He's already doing great things.
He is doing great things. And I think that's, again, it's been over 6 years since I was there, but that 9 years that I was at Jim Beam is truly memorable. And then, things like that, getting to meet him towards the end there, and start to see him grow. Of course, he's been around the industry forever. And, but yeah, it's just the storytelling. It's something that's a part of, Freddie, and but yeah, he would just make you laugh. And yeah, what day am I not on a diet? So it's,
believe me, I'll go out and get fried chicken with you for breakfast anytime, Dan. Anytime. Sure.
I welcome it because my wife still will yell at me. So
sure, it's not going to end. Even if you're doing good on the diet, you'll get in trouble for something else. So why not?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it is. So you guys. Last question for you. You guys got a great portfolio. What's your favorite? Which one do you find yourself going to more than any other?
I would say our Michter's US1 single barrel rye. I typically drink the whiskey neat. I let the bartenders make the cocktails, and then I just drink it neat. Just like now, I'm very fortunate to get to try through our upper marks. We like I mentioned, there's 3 phases, but phase 1 where they went around and through Kentucky and was able to buy very high quality matured stocks. And that's what you see in our 20-25 year releases, so forth. Our 20-year release is truly phenomenal. One of the best whiskeys I've ever had. So like one-offs, those are, that's just, fantastic. But as an everyday drinker, the rye, the bourbon, but I typically lean to the rye.
Excellent. Well, Dan, thanks so much for joining us on the Bourbon Talk Show. Really appreciate it, my friend.
Yep. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. All right. What we'll do next, we'll take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to be talking to Miss Beka Sue.
Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Network's 2022 Distiller Summit in Key West, Florida. Join us January 27th through 30th next year in sunny Key West as we network with individuals from the bourbon industry and fans of what we do. We'll have a combination of events, meet and greets, and free time to explore the beauty that is Key West. To learn more, head over to abvnetwork.com/distillers summit. We are also sponsored by Moonshine University. Moonshine University offers programs to assist individuals in the bourbon industry or simply fans wanting to step up their knowledge. Whether you're looking for in-person learning in the classrooms of Moonshine University or looking for self-study online, there are options to fit your unique needs. Check them out at moonshineuniversity.com.
Are you excited about that Key West trip, McNew?
I can't wait. I am so excited.
Yeah. We're counting down the days in our private Facebook group.
Yeah, I
Dave
see a
started
different
that. Dave
countdown
started
like
that.
every day. Somebody else is counting down.
Right. We need to keep that up. Because it keeps you going, because it's so much fun.
Like most people do like the Christmas countdowns when that season comes around. We're like, we don't even care. We're just Key West.
We're thinking past that. Yeah, to Key West. So yeah. All right. Well, our next guest is one of the most popular personalities on the ABV network. In fact, 2 years running, she is the most popular personality. She's got a great story to tell us. And as a matter of fact, she has married in our voting the 37th most popular person on the ABV network in Royce Neeley. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Beka Sue. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Beka Sue. Yes.
Is it weird I invited my parents on?
No, it's not weird.
They might join on. I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, they can join on, yeah.
But I sent my mom a text and she goes, "What time?" I said, "Right now." I said, "Time. Feel free to hop on, Mom." Yeah, and a little random thing about the Key West Distillers Fest or whatever we call it.
Distiller Summit.
The guys from Blue Run Spirits, they want to join us on that this year.
Perfect. They're welcome to. It's the industry thing, and we love having anybody that wants to join us. Absolutely.
The owners have asked me about 3 separate times now.
Okay.
Are you going to be there? Will you guys be there? And I said, yes. They're like, it's January, right? I said, yes. And so they sound like they want to go. So the Blue Run guys might join us this year.
Cool. I'll get them our hotel information and get them the dates, and they should be good. Cool. So McNew, did you get an envelope like this?
I did.
Beka Sue? What do we got? What do we got here, Beka? As we open this up, what do we expect?
Why don't you open it up and find out for yourself?
Okay. All right. Here we go.
The way that you would know.
Go on the same time, Steve.
Yep. Same time. Here we go. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, we got the Miss Beka Sue sticker.
It's a nice sticker.
It's an iconic sticker, by the way.
Sticker and magnets.
Fun fact: my husband actually had one on his cooler before we ever even started dating. My stickers.
Your stickers, okay.
Yeti cooler.
But the Yeti cooler.
Oh, Yeti cooler.
Wow, Yeti cooler. I saw it and I said, "When did you get that?" He said, "Way before we even started dating." Oh, there's my mom. There's mom. Miss Beka Sue's mom, Margie. She's not connected yet, though. She will be. You can't hear anything yet. She's deaf as it is, but she'll stand there and wave.
There we are.
There you are. Welcome.
Hey, thanks.
This is. I feel like this is like Jerry Springer now. This is controversial. With your mom.
That's my mom.
Yeah.
Mom, probably say, "Don't be talking too much, Mom."
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put. How do I put this on mute then?
Justine can help you. So yeah.
Justine will mute you, Mom.
Our producer Justine will help you. So Beka, what's going to happen with these now? You send us this packet. Why did you send us this? What's going on?
Because everybody gets one.
Hello, everyone in the audience.
Everybody.
It's a packet. How about that? So
you guys are on tonight. You get a sticker.
Hello, and magnets. Yeah. Nice.
And magnets. All the good stuff of me.
Of Miss Beka Sue. Yes, and me. I guess the Bourbon Sasquatch.
Yeah, and you too, Steve.
I got one here, so that's me.
Steve's alter ego, just hanging out.
Alter ego, the Bourbon Sasquatch. Very cool.
The Bourbon Sasquatch.
Yes. So Beka, I just got to thinking about us talking, and I carved out 12 months here. January 25th, 2020 to January 25th, 2021. Tell us everything that happened in your life between those 12 months, that 1 year time frame. January of 2020 to January 2021.
From that time, let's see here. I've gone to Las Vegas 3 times, one of which I got married. I moved to Kentucky. I quit my job of 10 years. I've been living, actually officially today, I've been living in a hotel for 365 days.
Today. Oh, happy anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah. Lucky me. I've been living in a hotel for 365 days. I saw a Snapchat memory pop up and I was like, oh, wow, what a great memory to know that this is when I moved into a hotel. We've been building a house. I've definitely never built a house before. I've been working in a distillery. I've never worked in a distillery before. I've never been married, obviously. And I've never moved this far away from home. Not really, not permanently.
Right.
And been away from my family for this long either. So that's probably the hardest thing for me over this past year, was being away from my family, which I'm going to be going back and seeing them pretty soon here. So
yes,
mother can be happy again. Not that she's just been sad since I've been gone, but
yeah. You forgot to fill out the vacation form request. I'm working on shows, and one of the guests on the shows tells me, no, Beka's going to be in North Dakota. I'm like, what?
Guests, my brother.
So your brother. I checked through the vacation request. It's not in there. I'm like, no, she's going to be here. He's like, no, I know for a fact she's going to be in North Dakota. So I checked. Sure enough, she's not going to be on the show.
Yeah, I forget to put in my formal stuff for you, Steve.
Yes, yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on at the distillery today. What what's your role and what you're doing there?
I mean, really, I am the voice of reason a lot of times with my husband when it comes to upgrades in the gift shop, because that's just kind of how it is. I mean, right now we're working with the freezer or the fridge that we use for our tastings. That was a fridge from when he was in college. So I just recently persuaded him that we need to get a nicer fridge. He said, well, why? Doesn't it work? Yes, it works. It's fine, but we need something that works better. And so that's kind of my role a lot of times here is, yes, does it work, but can we get it to work better? Can it be a better experience for our guys, a better experience for customers that come in here? Like, what can we do to upgrade things so that it's better? Because everything works just fine here, but there's just things that could be scaled up a notch. Right now I'm working on our cocktail program and trying to nail that down. Not making things that are crazy. I saw the drinks you guys had at Hard Truth and I was like, I'm not even going to pretend that anything that we're going to make here is going to look anything near like the quality of that. Now, will they taste good? Absolutely. Will they look like that? No, it's not. I mean, that's just not. I told some customers last weekend, I just play a bartender at work, but I'm not one in real life. I made them good drinks, so they were happy about it. But, we're just trying to get our cocktail program down. I've been getting just new things, like just girl things that I see in the distillery that I'm like, that is not pleasing and it could look better. Let's do that. And then I'm picking out all the single barrels, which, as one of our guys pointed out to me the other day, he said, well, all of your single barrels have sold, so apparently you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
So
I think that's spot on. Yeah.
Yeah. We just pulled out another one of the high wheat in the 8-year air season barrels. And those things are just absolutely fantastic. I mean, this one, poor Tim has been waiting for me to send out. I at least didn't charge him this time yet, but I've got some sitting back of the honey humidor of the 8-year air season rye or high rye that we did. And now we also have another one. I haven't named it yet, but it's a high wheat, tons of like vanilla and like tobacco notes and like it's delicious. It's a really incredible.
It's got to be exciting for Tim because you guys can now ship to certain states, Alaska being one of them. That's where Tim lives, and you can ship to Alaska. So that's got to be cool because very limited. Tim always talks about how limited the supplies are up there, especially if anything great, and opportunity to ship them, and he can get things that are really cool. So
yep, and unfortunately I'm the shipping department, and
yes,
Tim is the only person that gets anything USPS from us, which takes a long time because I never get down to the post office.
Yeah,
FedEx stops in, but not USPS.
What were you gonna say, Tim?
Still marketing you all up here.
Yeah, so he's going to work for you. Yeah, he's telling
yeah.
everybody about it. So there you go. So Beka, what's the best part about working at a distillery? You worked a very different job. This is totally different. What's your favorite part of doing what you do now?
Well, the best part is that we opened at 11.
Yeah, there you go.
I used to work in the oil field, and so I worked night shift for years on and off. And I was away. We did on call things for a long time. So like we'd be on call for 4 days straight, and you get a 2-hour call out. And so in 2 hours, you'd have to get to work at any time of the day, and you'd have no idea what time. And then other times we did actually know what time we had to work. I'd have to wake up at 4 a.m. to get to work. Or I'd leave for work at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. And, not knowing that we don't open till 11 is being a night owl. That's great. I mean, I know that sounds like the least exciting thing about working in a distillery, but that's really nice. And then just the fun stuff is, we get to talk to just all these different people that stop in. Sarah Barnes was in here the other day. She's with the KDA now. She was with Boone County for a long time. She's great, but we just meet all these awesome people from different distilleries, like all across the country, and just random people from all across the country. Yeah. Some of them are a pain in the ass, and some of them are absolutely amazing. I mean, I think just to be fair, and picking out single barrels is always a fun day. Bill and Bob and you, Steve, you guys all were out here the one day when I was just like, hey, let's pick out another
one. Yeah.
Like let's do it.
That's
that's definitely a fun day at the distillery when we're just doing single barrel picks, or a club comes in and I roll out the red carpet for some people, and that's always fun for me because I like being a host.
So you guys are at a time of explosive growth because you got so much going on at the main distillery. You are opening a second distillery too, which is unbelievable. But you're putting in a new yeast room. You've just expanded your visitor center, added a bottling room. You've got other things that are going on. Another new warehouse will be coming soon. So how do you keep track of this? How do you not feel like you're sinking all the time? Or do you feel like you're sinking all the time?
I wouldn't say that we don't. I mean, I think that like every single day, it's kind of high stress here often, and it's just like we rely a lot on Roy, which is Royce's dad. He does, like, when Royce says that he's like the X factor here, like that's not a joke. He knows all the right people to call to get things done. Just getting electrical work done, building new buildings, putting down cement. We have the Amish coming and like building stuff for us a lot of times. And I mean, it's a combination of everything, and it's almost every day is kind of high stress because we're just trying to get things done. I mean, we're completely swamped on random days. Like usually Wednesdays are our slowest day, where yesterday was, I mean, it was probably one of our busiest days of the week so far. Mm-hmm. And we just never know what's going to be happening. There's always things going on, and they're always going on at the same time. Yeah. And so when we do have a slow day, it's actually kind of nice, but we're always making whiskey, and we always, things are just showing up. We have a lot of contract distillation and contract bottling and all this stuff with all these different clients, and you like to think what's going on with them all the time, but sometimes you don't. Yeah. And so, and anyone at any time can show up here.
No, that's for sure.
And just think we'll be readily available to help them out. And so we try to as best as we can. So It's always very exciting here.
So you've been with me you've started your 4th year at the Bourbon Daily. So I think it's good to tell the audience how we got started. It's a crazy story, right?
Is it best to tell the audience how we got started, Steve?
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of people ask that. I'll say that's one of the number one questions that I get. How did you start working with Beka?
Yeah, see, it's So how it started. So Steve started following me on Instagram. I don't know why. But you were following me on Instagram. We were friends, I think, for
a while. Yeah.
For a little while.
Never talked or anything like that.
No,
but just
I think we like each other's stories and stuff.
Right,
but nothing like we say, oh, cool. Hey, that's like great bottle or something like that. But I was never posting a bunch of bourbon. I had a lot of scotch and stuff on there.
And we weren't chatting by any means. It wasn't like we
never talked to each other. Right. But then one fateful day, I had a long weekend. And myself and my best friend Ashley were having a Sunday fun day, as we like to call it. And I don't know where we thought of this, but we wanted to see if it was possible to swallow dimes.
I don't know why. I still don't understand this. I don't. Why anybody want to do this?
Full explanation behind it. There's not, other than just we drank too much, and we were just like, the two of us are a little bit nutty when we're together, and my mom's nodding her head because she knows that we're absolutely nuts when we're together. And so we thought we'd try and swallow some dimes. And so obviously, if you're doing something stupid like that, you record it in case you die, so I could see the very dumb cause of death. And so we recorded it, and I put up a 15-second snap of it on my Instagram story, and Steve almost immediately messages me, and he goes, "What is this?
Right, I don't understand.
What is happening? Please explain this." And I said, "Well, I'll just post the entire video." And so I post the entire video, and Steve messaged me back, and he goes, "This didn't explain anything."
Right. Why are you wanting to do this? Right, yeah.
This didn't clarify what's happening, because in the video we like have a dime and we like bounce it off, like we hit it on the table and cheers it like we're taking a shot, toss it back, and I immediately get the look on my face, and I try to drink some water. I spill over water. Ashley almost pukes on me. There's Rory walking behind us that we don't even notice. He's tapping us on the shoulders, asking for a cell phone. It's just a weird video. And so Steve reached out and said, "Can you please come onto a podcast
just to explain the video,
explain what the hell is going on in this video?" And I'm like, I don't really think there's much more to explain, but yeah, like, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory video of what's going on. Like
I was going to use it as a promotion, not to drink. It was going to be, hey, drink in moderation. This can happen to you. I was going to be like a thing that I did for a public service announcement.
The funny thing was, so we did that. And I was actually in between moving into a new place. I just moved out of one place. I was staying with my mom in the house she's in right now. And I was moving into a new condo. And I think that's what it was. I was staying in the condo for something. I think I was in your condo for something, but I was in the condo. And so when Steve asked me to be on, he said, well, I'm not really a huge bourbon person. Like, I drink a ton of scotch. Like, I love scotch. I was like, I don't know how much bourbon I have. He said, well, you'll be fine. Figure something out. And I'm like, okay. And so I went to the store and I found a bottle of Michters.
Yeah, that's what she was drinking.
And I had a small batch Michters, and I drank probably over half a bottle of that night on my first recording. So I was completely schlitzed, like I was done for. I remember walking out. My mom had made some home fresh meals, and I walk out, and my mom and my dad look at me and they go, "Are you drunk?" I'm like, "Mom, I am wasted." I was on this show. I was like, I'm wasted. And I went and sat down between my parents after the show, and I think I fell asleep on the couch with my poor parents. And I was very much an adult at that time. And so that was actually how it all started. Was I posted that dumb video, and then the first time I podcasted, I drank all that Michters, which is really funny, I think.
So I was on your first show. It was one that I was hosting, and I watched this video, and the more you watch it, the less sense it makes. It didn't get better.
No, it does not get better. No.
The more happens, you're just like, who's this dude in the background? Like, it made less sense the more times I watched it that night.
Yeah.
And the weirdest part is years later, I showed that video to some of our friends. I made friends with these people just I don't even know how I made friends with them. And the guy's watching it, and he goes, "That's my dad."
No, there's a drunk guy walking around the background. Yeah.
What do you mean? He said, that guy in the background hitting your shoulder, that's my dad. And I go, drunk Rory is your dad? He said, drunk Rory. Yeah, that's my dad. And I'm like, that definitely put a twist in things here. That's even funnier now that like some friends of ours that we randomly met, their dad is in the video that made me get on a podcast that completely changed my life. Yeah. So
what do you like most about being on the Bourbon Daily? You've been doing this a while now. Yeah, obviously it's a labor of love for you.
It is a labor of love. I've been podcasting almost, not every, but most Sundays for the past 4 years now, Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is the biggest commitment I've ever had. Yeah. I mean, I'm married, but I've been married to him for 4 years. I can still get rid of
it. Yeah, you're stuck with the Bourbon Daily.
But I've been with you.
The husband's coming out
for 4 years. Doing this every Sunday. My mother and my family, they've had to adjust our Sunday dinners for the Bourbon Daily. We used to eat at 6 o'clock, and now, well, when I was there, we'd eat at like 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and I'd go running out the door directly after to get home and podcast.
Yeah. You're good. You stick to the schedule. I mean, yeah, you're committed to it. So yeah, the fact you're off in a couple of weeks, I mean, it'd be nice to know, but yeah, it's no problem.
Hey, team, I'm going to be off in a couple of weeks, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've had a blast with it. Like just being able to do like the extra events and stuff, like going to Key West, going to New Orleans, like New Orleans, the first time was such a blast. And it was something that I never, ever expected to do. And McNew and I actually got to hang out for the first time. And we talked, and we realized that we didn't hate each other. Like that was
for some reason we thought we did. We made no sense why.
And I got to hang out with Justine, and like Justine liked me too. And I was like, oh, holy shit, all of us like each other. This is wonderful.
Yeah, we had like the best Sunday fun day together before we got lit and went to the airport.
Really, we all had the best day. Like all those days we had it.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Like we went to Justine's also and got to have some drinks at Justine's. And like I got to actually hang out with the people that I've been talking to for years, but I didn't know that we didn't like. I thought McNew didn't like me, and I don't know if Justine liked me, and then we all hung out. We're like, we like each other. It's great.
Yeah.
Friends.
It was good. Yeah. Good bonding for all of us.
Yeah.
I think it's the best thing about. It's the best thing about the ABV network. It's the best thing about this stuff too. This is great. We love whiskey and bourbon's the bond behind all this stuff. But in reality, it's about the people. It's about creating moments where we get together and have friendships and stuff like that. We're drinking the bourbon, we're enjoying the bourbon, and it's certainly part of it. But that's the people is truly the best thing about bourbon. And if you don't think it's a people thing, it really is. Bourbon is a people thing.
I realized what I should say the best part about my job is that I found my husband. That's what I'm supposed to say, right?
Right.
My husband. I found my husband.
Yeah. You'll call me tomorrow. We got to figure out how to edit that in. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, add that in.
Yeah, before I have to figure out how to add that in.
Okay. Clip here.
Yeah. We've got a couple events coming up. You're going to be involved in that kind of in a dual role because we're going to be at the Bourbon and Moonshine Festival in Beattyville, Kentucky, July 10th. And we'll be set up there, the ABV network. And we're also going to be at the Midwest Distillers Festival at Hard Truth on October 2nd. But you've got to pull double duty because you're an ABV network team member and you are a Neeley family distillery. So you'll kind of be working both of those at both of those events, correct?
I think I'll like wear a wig and I can like pull it off and like.
Right. You're like Hannah Montana. Yeah.
When I'm like, I'll just like switch back and forth. So people like can tell the difference of which person I am at which time.
Yeah.
So they're aware, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We'll be doing some fun events. We've got a lot of fun things going on like that. I mean, that other distillery is going to be great right now. It's not put on hold at all, but Roy, my father-in-law, is kind of like, he pulled his guys back and he's like, we need to get done with our house before we finish that distillery because we need to live somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's getting close. So that's really exciting too. I'm going to allow you to give the ultimate scoop here. So your husband and I have partnered up on something really cool, but we haven't announced it yet. We have not. I don't think we've teased this one yet. So really no one knows about this. So I'm going to let you give the scoop and tell everybody what the cool thing is. And it's probably not what they think. We've talked a little bit. Royce and I have a partnership on another thing, and we've talked about that, but we haven't talked about this one. So fill everybody in.
I don't think you guys have said anything to anyone about it.
Right, right. I know.
But
it's getting ready to come real here. Here we go.
Yeah, something super cool that we've been working on with Molly Wellman, who is voted North America's #1 bartender, I think 2 years in a row. Steve, is that correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're gonna be doing a line of bitters with Molly Wellman. She's gonna be making them out of the distillery here. She's got her recipes down, but she has to make them somewhere. And so we're gonna do them out of the distillery here. And so like we're super excited because I mean, what a better person to work with than Molly?
Yeah.
I mean, she's literally one of the nicest people ever. She's a great bartender. I'm hoping that she can teach me a few things, which would be great because obviously, why would you not want to learn from Molly?
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be an exciting thing. It's exciting for Molly as well. I mean, she had a rough year, I think, in 2020 with being a bar owner.
Right.
So I think
and she's had partnerships and she hasn't had great partners in the past necessarily. And, Royce and I got scared. We're like a couple little kids. So, I saw that she does all her own bitters and all that, but it would have like in just a jar that's been recycled from something else and a piece of tape on there. And it'll be like tobacco bitters or whatever it is. So she's making all these things. And I said to Royce, can you make this stuff? And he's like, heck yeah, if I got the recipes. I don't know anything about it, but if I got the recipes, I can make it here. And I'm like, well, I can help market and sell it. We can build a website and all of that stuff. We got Justine can help us out with shipping if we can do this. So we send Molly an email and don't get a response. We thought, oh no, we just burned the friendship. And we're scared. We're too afraid to say anything. And then 2 days later, we get an email back. This is the greatest thing, guys. And then it's been on fast forward ever since. We're so excited to be working with her.
Good golly, Miss Molly bitters.
Yeah. Yep. Good golly, Miss Molly,
that's super cute.
Yeah.
You guys, 3 different types of bitters.
Yeah, we're gonna start out with 3 different types and expand from there. It'll be a huge line she's got so much stuff. It's like really deciding what to do at first. And I think we're going along the lines of the classic stuff up first, so you can make Manhattans and old fashions and that kind of stuff, and then we'll fan out and do more stuff as we go along. So
it's gonna be really cool. I'm honestly just excited to have Molly in the distillery. I think that Thumper will actually up his mouse kill numbers because he likes to bring Molly dead mice. So
yes,
it's really just a plus all around for us.
Yeah. So it's good things coming. So really excited about that. You'll hear more. It's not like we're going to let that one fly under the radar. You'll hear more about that soon. Beka, what's the future look like for you and Royce? Tell us a little bit, getting ready to move in the house and all that finally. What's the future hold for you two?
I'm just so excited to move into the house right now. I mean, that's like it I have like nightmares about it. And I had like a nightmare last night about like our tile looking horrible. Like that's the type of dreams that I have right now.
Our tile's gonna look bad.
And I wish Tim Swyatt was on here because he messaged me about this, but we do have our appliances ordered, which is a big thing, right, guys?
Congrats. Yeah. Well,
we have appliances ordered. Thank God. I just pretty much did that one on my own, and I messaged Royce and I said I'm ordering appliances, and I just ordered them on my own. I did call my mother a few times to make sure that I was doing the correct thing with what I was getting. But we have appliances ordered, and so I mean, really, like for me, the biggest thing right now is getting into the house, getting the speakeasy done in the house. So that when our ABV people come up here, they can hang out and we can, instead of, obviously we want to hang out in the distillery, but going up to the house, maybe having some special pours up there. And also we've got some spare bedrooms. So if like maybe also Neil, very nice hat, coming up to the house and hanging out. And if like, let's just say that maybe someone like Mr. Bill has maybe too many pours.
Yes.
Sleep on in our spare bedroom. We do have one. So like getting the house done and decorated, and that, I mean, that's huge. And then it's the distillery down in the mountains next to Slade. I mean, that's going to be a major headache in a good way, we hope. But I mean, that's massive. And then we've got our bottled and bond moonshine is going to hopefully come out at the end of this year, and we've got our absinthe that we're going to be releasing in the next, probably it's going to be the next month or two. We're putting the absinthe out there. I was drinking some of that earlier tonight. I think that's why I got a little bit red here because, well, I drank too much of it. but we have a lot of cool things coming out. You know, maybe we're probably going to do a small batch here sooner than later of our breakfast bourbons. And I mean, Royce I just try to keep his head on straight because he just has 5 million things going on at a time.
Yeah. Okay. Last question is always the fun or tough one. I think it's both. Why are you afraid to play cards with Royce and I? You come down there and you're afraid to play. What? I don't even know Miss Beka Sue to be afraid of anything. She's afraid to play cards with us.
I don't want you guys to look like jackasses. I don't want to take all your guys' money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want everyone to just like run. Like the game's supposed to last all night, right? And if I, just sweep the entire table within the first hour, then what's the point of card games?
Yeah. She comes there and's like, no, I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, no. I just, I'm not a big card person. If I'm in a casino, you're gonna see me. I'd be the old lady in the corner, just like pulling the slot machine, just putting pennies in the slots, going, "Where's my free drink?" Slide like that's me over in the corner. Well,
we'll get you to play because we're gonna get Dan. We're gonna get Dan to play. Dan, you're gonna be playing with us, right?
Dan, you should show up.
Yeah, he's shaking his head yes. So okay, he's
sorry. Yeah, I'm muted there.
You should come to card night down at Bourbon's Bistro. It's an absolute blast.
Okay, thank you.
We'll get you there. All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap this one up. I want to thank both of our guests. I want to thank Miss Beka Sue and Dan McKee. Thank you, guys. Hey-oh. Oh, there we go. Oh, man. Crowd sounds good. All right, we'll wrap this one. We'd like to let our guests plug anything that they'd like. Miss Beka Sue, we'll start with you. Anything that people can find you, that type of thing.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, 1K, no C's. And you can also find me at Neeley Family Distillery. And that is on both Facebook and Instagram at Neeley Family Distillery. All
right, Dan, how about you?
Well, I'm here at the distillery.
It's a good plug, Dan.
No, yeah, exactly. The whole social media thing, I'm a little late to the game here. I think it's at Michter's Master Distiller, but you can see how much I use it there. But yeah, no, it's very exciting. We hope as things change throughout the year, our visitor center, visitor experience center will reopen at some point here. So hopefully that'll happen. There's Michters.com. We're doing curbside and again, I can't wait for some things to change and get back out there because Steve, as you said, and I mentioned earlier, it really is about the people. It's the whiskey, the people, the great people that you meet every day enjoying whiskey, and it's what brings it together. So again, thank you for having Michter's, having me, and this has been awesome.
Absolutely. McNew, how about you? Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at McNew ABV.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out. Everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, our podcast, Key West information if you want to join us for that, our virtual bourbon events, our shop, so much more. abvnetwork.com. McNew, we have one last order of business. We got a giveaway. So in promoting Miss Beka Sue being on the show, we thought it would be nice to give away. So I had one sample left from the Distiller, the 117 series from Old Foe. And I wanted to give that away because that's been such a highly coveted thing. And I was lucky enough to try it, media sample and that type of thing. Fantastic stuff. I really enjoyed it. And it's unfortunate more people can't get it. It's been so popular. So everybody in the studio audience here, we had 11 here, and I'll generate the number. McNew, you'll tell us who wins then.
All right. Yep. I have the list. 10, number 10, Tim Swyat. He's not here.
So Tim, he's not even here, but he's still
in the audience. But he was number 10 on the list.
He bought the ticket. He wins. So yeah, congratulations to him. Bill, that's if it makes it through the night. Bill is at my house. He had already picked up that bottle. Said, "Can I drink this?" he literally picked it up. I said, "You can try anything you like." He's like, "Well, I'm going to have this." I'm like, "No, that's our giveaway."
That's a prize, Bill.
Yeah. He's like, "Well, I really want this." I'm like, it's the only one I got, Bill. So no.
Well, if you for some reason hit a randomizer for whatever reason tonight, Bill was number 3.
Bill was number 3.
Do what you will with that information.
All right. Well, McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please hit the subscribe button for Bourbon Sasquatch on YouTube, where all of our shows will be posted. And when you are watching an episode, please give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, and share it. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And next week, we'll have Jason Bronner, owner of Bourbon's Bistro, and Dave Leglars, owner of Still 630.
Sounds good. Until next week, everybody, take care. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace. Oh, that was great.